Let's take a look at Israel, a small country that seems to command a lot of attention on the global stage. Why do so many countries hesitate to confront it? The situation in Palestine and Gaza is closely monitored by many Arab nations, yet we often see a lack of vocal support or intervention from them. It's striking how the world, in many ways, stands by in silence as events unfold. Despite its small size barely noticeable on a map, Israel has a population of around 9 million, predominantly Jewish. The Jewish community is often recognized for its contributions to various fields, including finance and technology. This raises questions about the dynamics of power and influence in the region. Let's explore this topic further. Whether it's you, me, or anyone else, it feels like the Jewish community and Israel are always keeping an eye on things. Our mobile phones and computers, it's like they have access to everything. Take Microsoft, for example. Steve Ballmer, the former CEO, is from the Jewish community, and Microsoft has really made its mark in the software world with programs like Word, Access, and PowerPoint, but Excel is probably one of the most widely used tools out there. If you look at computers globally, there's a good chance, around 90%, that people are using Windows, especially in many European countries. Windows is the most popular operating system out there, and we all know how to use it, how to cut, minimize, maximize, and restart. It's become such an integral part of our daily lives that we barely even think about it. Then there's Intel, which makes the processors that serve as the brains of our computers, with around 3,000 employees. Intel has its largest research facility in Israel and is constantly pushing the boundaries of technology by releasing new generations of processors. Chances are, if you buy a computer, whether it's HP or another brand, it's going to have an Intel CPU. So when you're working on a desktop, there's a good chance you're using both Intel hardware and Microsoft software. Now let's talk about Nvidia, a company renowned for its powerful graphics processors. If you're looking to buy a laptop or desktop for gaming, you'll almost always check for Nvidia graphics card. It's a major player in the tech world, and just like Intel, Israel has a strong presence here through its Jewish community. Take Michael Dell, for instance, the founder of Dell, which is a significant name in computers. He also comes from the Jewish community in Israel. And then there's Facebook, which has an enormous reach, shaping what billions of people see every day. If you try to mess with them, they could easily flood your feed with so much content that it becomes overwhelming. Instagram, which is also owned by Facebook, operates in a similar way. WhatsApp, Messenger, and even ChatGPT are all tied to this influence, which is why many people think twice before going up against them. It's interesting to note that anyone who is Jewish is often seen as having a connection to Israel, reinforcing that influence. Take a look at Google, which was co-founded by Larry Page, a member of the Jewish community. The Google Play Store is a major player in app registration. Hosting everything from DoorDash to Grubhub, these tech giants have significant power to influence ratings, donations, and much more. If they chose to support Palestine with 100 million USD, they could easily do so, and there would be few obstacles in their way. It's not the everyday person who can contribute at that level, it's these massive tech companies that hold that kind of influence. Just imagine trying to compete with giants like Amazon, Uber, or Netflix. Whatever you create will have to navigate through platforms like the Play Store, which are controlled by these global tech firms. But imagine if someone tried to mess with these platforms, they could easily lower an app's rating from 4.6 to something much worse, or even remove it from the Play Store for a month, sending out notifications and causing real disruption. Google also controls Android, which powers most of the world's mobile phones, your payment apps, online banking, and many other financial systems are linked to Google and its services in one way or another. Imagine if Android stopped supporting an app like PayPal or delayed its processes. This would create a ripple effect across various industries. Almost all internet searches happen on Chrome, Google's browser, whether you're translating something into English, Japanese, Chinese, or any other language. You're likely using Google Translate. Even platforms like YouTube, which is owned by Google, fall under the control of this massive corporation. And let's not forget that Google was co-founded by Larry Page, who is part of the Jewish community. These connections to Israel are significant because Jewish people, no matter where they live, can claim Israeli citizenship. Google, through Android, powers nearly every smartphone, whether it's Samsung, Oppo, LG, Xiaomi, Motorola, or Realme. All these devices run on Android, which is controlled by Google. Who would dare to challenge a company like that? Even Alphabet, Google's parent company, is deeply intertwined with their operations. When people think of Google, they don't just think of search engines, they also think of Maps, Android, YouTube, and countless other services. The biggest fear that companies have is Google cutting off their ads. Google controls the majority of online advertising, and if they decided to block ads for a business, it could be devastating. Imagine Google launching a campaign against you or promoting your competitors right in front of you. Who would dare challenge that level of power? Google has its grip on the entire world, and everyone is aware of it. In today's world, people rely heavily on mobile phones and computers for digital transactions and communication. If you're using a mobile phone, there's a 99% chance it's powered by Android, which once again belongs to Google. Without Android, most phones wouldn't even function. While some people use iPhones, it's worth noting that even Apple has significant Jewish stakeholders in top positions. If you're using a laptop, it likely runs on Windows, which is owned by Microsoft, and we know that Steve Ballmer, a prominent figure at Microsoft, is part of the Jewish community. In every aspect, from phones to laptops and from Android to Windows, these technologies are controlled by a few powerful individuals, many of whom have connections to Israel. This is why few dare to challenge them. In today's digital world, whenever someone needs something free frequently, they turn to applications. For instance, students often download apps for their daily classes, while for occasional needs like shopping or booking tickets, they rely on websites. Laptops access a variety of websites, while applications thrive on Windows and Android platforms. Now, let's discuss a fascinating example involving Israel and a prominent Asian businessman, Gautam Adani. Adani is known for his extensive ventures in infrastructure, energy, and logistics, but his company recently made headlines for a different reason. An ambulance driver in Israel named Anderson was linked to the Hindenburg report, which significantly impacted the Adani group, causing their stock prices to plummet. Over 1 trillion USD in value was lost. According to the Hindenburg report, this ambulance driver played a role in driving the stock market down. If a report from Bloomberg emerges, it can severely affect a country's GDP and influence major companies. Michael Bloomberg, who is also connected to the Jewish community, wields significant power in these matters. If any company attempts to donate a large sum, say 50 million USD to Palestine, that action would likely be highlighted in Bloomberg's reports, causing stock prices to fall as other companies hesitate to take risks. This interconnectedness among Jewish individuals means that anyone opposing Israel faces serious repercussions. Even Saudi Arabia and other Arab nations are often cautious and unable to provide support. Then there's a notable figure, Larry Ellison, the founder of Oracle, a company known for its software solutions. They develop essential banking software, and companies like Uber and Grubhub also rely on software-based services that require significant resources. Massive data centers support these operations, with many companies leveraging advanced technology to keep pace. Additionally, in the fashion industry, brands like Calvin Klein and Polo are closely tied to the Jewish community, often run by influential figures with roots in Israel. When it comes to hospitality, large hotel chains such as Hyatt are prominent in major cities around the world. These hotels are strategically located near airports and railway stations, offering premium services and amenities. They are not just ordinary hotels. Many prime ministers and other dignitaries choose to stay in these establishments. This intricate web of connections highlights the influence of the technology, finance, and hospitality industries, where the intersection of power, technology, and global politics is more relevant than ever. While often categorized as hotels, these establishments offer a luxury experience that's beyond the reach of the average person. How is it that such powerful individuals exist in this world? Israel's influence extends beyond hospitality. It permeates technology as well. Take the spyware called Pegasus, for instance. Many people don't even realize it's installed on their mobile devices. It was reportedly used to target politicians like Emmanuel Macron, causing significant concerns about privacy and security. This software can be automatically installed on your device without your knowledge. It's connected to Android, which is part of Google, co-founded by Larry Page. This kind of surveillance is facilitated by one of the world's most sophisticated intelligence agencies. When Iran was attempting to develop its nuclear program, Israel grew concerned that Iran might succeed and pose a significant threat. To mitigate this risk, Israel eliminated key scientists associated with that program, tracking them for years. In Israel, every citizen receives military training equipping them to handle weapons. This level of preparedness means that no major country, company, or organization dares to confront Israel. It's a tightly controlled environment